produced our college football spotlight because we got to talk some Wisconsin Badger football.
Time for Nuno and Raheel to get in the three-point stance.
Montana could do better.
It's time for the boys and their college pigskin spotlight.
And we'll start things off with Kyle Heikkinen from Badger247.com. Kyle, what's up, bud?
How's it going, guys?
We're doing wonderful. Let's talk about last year's 11-1 season and what you expect to see this season with the different conference look and what's going to happen with Badger football.
Well, obviously, everybody knows that Russell Wilson's now the quarterback at Wisconsin, so there's definitely a lot of hype around Madison right now. And coming off that 11-2 Rose Bowl appearance, there's definitely a lot of exciting things up here in Madison.
All right, with Russell Wilson now the quarterback, is this a team that could be a dark horse for a national championship, if not one of the favorites?
I wouldn't put him as a favorite. I think you could lump probably about 10 teams that have the possibility to win a national championship. With Wisconsin's addition of Russell Wilson, I think they could be a dark horse, maybe one of 10 teams that could possibly make a run for it. I definitely think they are the leader in the leaders division of the Big Ten now with the two divisions after the addition of Nebraska. I definitely see Wisconsin as the leader in the leaders division.
Let's talk a little bit about that backfield, wonderful backfield with Monty Ball and James White. They rushed for over 900 yards. They're coming back. What do you expect for them this year with the addition of Russell Wilson?
I see Russell fitting in real well. Obviously, he's not going to have a majority of the workload like he did at North Carolina State. He's got those two backs, as you mentioned, Ball and White. Definitely a great duo, probably one of the best duos in the nation, if not the best in the nation. As you mentioned, both players rushed for over 900 yards. I think Monty Ball is a guy who will definitely pick up a little bit more momentum going into the season this year after the year he had rushed for 18 touchdowns last year. He's definitely going to be the go-to guy with James White, again, being the complimentary back in the backfield.
How do you see them using Russell Wilson in the system that's already established for the Badgers?
I like the fit. I think Russell, as I mentioned, he's got two great backs. He has a great offensive lineman, a bunch of great offensive linemen. So I don't think Russell really has a lot of pressure on him. He's going to have a lot of, single coverage on the outside, a lot of play-action passes. He's going to be handing the ball off a lot, but I think that fits well into his style of offense and the type of stuff that Wisconsin does up here.
Let's talk a little bit about the schedule. What is a game or two that you're penciling to be, all right, this is a game that's going to determine the way this season goes?
I think it's back-to-back weekends, October 22nd and October 29th at Michigan State and at Ohio State, both night games, nationally televised. That's going to be the toughest stretch for Wisconsin. So, if they come out of that with at least one win out of those two games, I think this is going to be a very successful season for Wisconsin.
What about the Nebraska game on October 1st? How excited are the fans to see that one happen?
It's unbelievable, the hype and the amount of, I guess you could say, pressure already on this team just because of the addition of Nebraska and having Nebraska's first ever Big Ten contest in Madison at Camp Randall underneath the lights. It's crazy. Already on eBay, tickets are selling for over $2,000 a piece, so it's going to be a crazy game, crazy atmosphere. Night game, Camp Randall, National Spotlight. It's going to be a good game.
All right, now the conference realignment with the Big Ten, the leaders and the legends, that makes it open now for a title game in the Big Ten. That's got to be a good feeling for a team like Wisconsin that might, at the end of the year, they might be that third or fourth team in the rankings, and they need that one more game now. It's happened before in the Big Ten. How is that feeling not only for Nebraska but for the Big Ten now with the title game?
There's a lot of hype around that title game. Again, I guess it's just one. It can be a negative as well because that's one extra game that they're going to have to win. But as I mentioned, that Nebraska game and that Michigan State game, those are the two leaders in that Legends division, two of the top teams. So Wisconsin could possibly have to play Nebraska and Michigan State twice if they do, in fact, make it to the Big Ten championship game. So it could be a negative for Wisconsin. But the hype around the Big Ten, adding that Big Ten championship game, has just been great. And it's definitely getting some good reviews so far from the fans. We'll see what happens when that does come along again later on in the year.
New defensive coordinator, what does that mean for the defense?
Not much. Chris Ash has been around for a while. He's actually been the defensive coordinator at Iowa State, came over to Wisconsin. really, the only thing you're going to see different is a little bit more press coverage, which is something that Wisconsin hasn't done under the past couple of defensive coordinators. But I really think it'll be an easy transition, a smooth transition. And Brett Bielema, a former defensive coordinator himself, will definitely have an eye over the defense.
It's the college football spotlight here on the Tim Brando Show. I'm Raheel Ramzanalli. Got David Nuno in with us. Kyle Heikkinen on talking some Wisconsin Badgers football. I've got a quick question for you before we let you go. Now, with J.J. Watt, Houston Texan, we're based out of Houston. What can we expect with J.J. Watt?
J.J. Watt, probably one of the best kids I've ever got to speak with. Just a great attitude, hard worker. I'm sure you guys know about him, his work ethic. But really, you're going to get 120% every time that guy takes a step out on the football field. Great personality, definitely going to be great for the community. He has his own foundation already, the J.J. Watt Foundation. So, really, the Texans got to steal, I think. I think J.J. Watt is definitely a top 5 player in last year's draft, just an absolute animal, and definitely goes 110% every time he steps out on the field.
Very good stuff there from Kyle Heikkinen from Badger247.com. Kyle, appreciate your time, bud.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Good talk right there. I love doing the college football spotlight.
I'm telling you, I think I'm going to pick Wisconsin as one of my dark horses to win the national title. A lot of people last year, Auburn, that was similar, where you go, okay, look at this team. This is pretty good. And Wisconsin's defense up front, if it gets going, there's going to be a lot of trouble for Big Ten teams and nationwide for a team that could make a run to the BCS title game.
When we return, what coach is probably going to get fired in the NFL? That's right, we're already firing coaches. We don't even have an agreement in place. We'll talk about that and much, much more right here on the Tim Brando Show with Nuno and Raheel on Sporting News Radio.